What's going on, hustlers? Back at you guys with another video. So today we've got something fun. It's going to be pretty practical, pretty straightforward, just like a lot of value add. So 10 most valuable things that you need to win with DLA. And no, this is not going to be like some dude in a Lamborghini telling you about like mindset or, you know, how you have to manage your time more effectively. This is just going to be straight up very practical information, like physical, tangible things that you need. A lot of people get on the internet and tell you about business models, but they don't tell you like the nitty gritty or like practical stuff that you actually need. I'm not here to sell you a dream. I'm here to tell you like exactly like legit supplies that you're gonna need to do this business. So let's get into it. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. So first thing, you're gonna need a dedicated physical space. I can't stress this enough. Virtual offices are not allowed. When you go through your registration with DLA, you're gonna see that they're gonna have to send you a postcard with a PIN number to a physical address. So you need a dedicated physical space, and then whenever DCMA is gonna conduct their inspections at your facility, it's gotta be a physical space. I'm not the biggest fan of shared office spaces, but you gotta do what you gotta do. A lot of people operate out of their houses, so that's also acceptable. Number two, and this is gonna be super straight up, you're gonna need at least $500 or access to $500 for supplies. And when I say supplies, I'm talking about things like a tape gun, things like a scale, things like a tape measure, things like a heating gun, things like a filing cabinet or a bin to store your physical files. You probably are gonna wanna invest in like some quality chairs because your ass is gonna be sitting down. You're gonna need a printer. $500 for supplies like that. And then also to purchase your packaging material and stuff like that, right? So on average, you know, it's gonna cost between like $300 and $400. I always say 500 just because you wanna have that extra, you wanna have that cushion. And I used to say 500 because you can get everything for $400 and then have $100 to play around with products. But I'm actually going to be recording a video right after this where I'm going to show you guys how to get started with $0. This is a new method that I came up with. So bottom line, you're going to need at least $500 for your physical supplies, like the fixed costs that you cannot avoid when you're running a business, like those first initial costs, and then you don't ever pay them again, but you need at least $500. Next thing, you're gonna need a CRM. CRM meaning contract resource manager or client relations manager if you're in like a service-based business. But in our realm, it's a CRM, contract relations management software. I always tell you guys, listen, you can use Microsoft OneDrive or Google Drive, but you guys know I'm a big fan of Lucy. And I do want to clarify that I am developing a software, but the software that I'm developing is not a CRM. Lucy is still the best CRM out there on the market. Roll the clip.
Have you heard of Lucy yet? The best all-in-one software for DLA suppliers.
Let's look at the top Lucy features. AI-powered and advanced searching and filtering. Use one-click copy to easily copy all contract details into the CRM. Save hours with pre-filled quote request emails. Automatically calculate bid price and profits. Advanced CRM and bid management features. Save time and do 10x more bids with Lucy. Use the links below to get your 7-day free trial or join an upcoming free webinar.
All right, cool. We're back. So outside of a CRM, the next thing that you're gonna need stable internet connection. I cannot tell you how much time you're gonna spend downloading PDFs, looking through solicitations. Even if you have Lucy, you're gonna need stable internet connection to run Lucy. So your guys better be on that Xfinity Wi-Fi. You might need to go to Starbucks to get some work done in the meantime. And then once you win that first contract, then you can pay for Wi-Fi at your proper, you know, physical location, but you're gonna need stable internet connection in the beginning. And when I told you guys this is gonna be practical, this is like straight up shit that you don't think about until you're in it, right? And I don't want you guys to be in it and then you're like, oh shit, actually I realized I need good Wi-Fi. So number 5, daily goal structure. So go check out the interview that I did with Patrick. Patrick is a great example of that. Patrick and Christian, actually. Go check out both of their interviews. They both have like a physical whiteboard where they write down like all of their goals, and they're writing down, you know, what their metrics are, how many RFQs they're sending per day, how many bids they're submitting per day, how many phone calls, how many emails they're making per day, how many contracts they have in their pipeline. So you're gonna need a daily goal structure. And ideally you want to have this written out either like I do, like the old-fashioned way on like a notebook, or you want to have like a physical, you want to have like a physical whiteboard. The whiteboards are like $15 from like Office Depot or some shit, or you can get one off like Temu. But yeah, you're gonna need daily goal structure because again, you guys are gonna hear me say this a lot. People do a lot of stuff that doesn't move the needle. It's not relevant to their business right now. In the beginning, the most relevant things are always going to be making phone calls, sending emails, and submitting bids, and you're going to need to be tracking that. And it helps if you have a physical representation of that. And writing your goals down is always the first step to achieving them. You guys will always hear me harp on that. Number 6, I've touched on this in previous videos. You're either going to have to already be articulate, or your ass is going to need to go to speech therapy or Toastmasters or something, because you're going to have to be able to speak clearly and concisely. I'm not going to say eloquently, but it helps if you can speak eloquently, because you are going to be speaking to manufacturers, vendors, distributors, contracting officers, product specialists, right? And one thing that I'll piggyback on this, you need to download Grammarly, bro. I cannot tell you how many instances that I have where clients will send me an email and be like, this is what I'm going to send to the contracting officer. I'm not even like spell checking it really. Like, my intent is just to make sure the information that needs to be there is there, and then there's so many grammatical errors, and I'm just like, dude, you can't send this to somebody, bro. Like, you're confusing there and there, you're confusing your and your, like, this can't be happening. So you need to download Grammarly, and if you have any kind of speech impediment or something like that, you want to get you some speech therapy, or if you don't and you have trouble speaking clearly and concisely, go join Toastmasters. But you gotta clean up your vernacular, you gotta become articulate, and your grammar and spelling has to be on point. It's the easiest way to get yourself disqualified, is when you send an email to somebody and your grammar just sucks. So don't be that guy. Number 7, you need a business email. I can't tell you again how many instances that I've seen with clients where they're like, oh yeah, I got registered in SAM, and then they're using like a Hotmail or Yahoo account. Like, it just looks so unprofessional, and it's really hard if you're going to be using like the phone call script that we give you guys to be like, oh yeah, we're a federally recognized government contracting company, and then meanwhile it's like joeblow12345@gmail.com. Just not a good look. Like, you got to make your actions correspond with your words, and one of the quickest ways to not do that is to speak very nicely and eloquently, and then you have like a Hotmail email that you made when you were like in middle school. That's not it. Go get yourself a business email. I'm pretty sure it's like $5 a month or something like that, to go create like a Google Business Suite or a Microsoft Business Suite. So go get that squared away. Number 8, this is a big one. This is a big one because this is going to cut your time in half by like 40%. You need a second monitor. You don't need, but I'm strongly recommending you get a second monitor. I get it. It's cool. Everybody likes to live the dream of like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. I just work from my laptop straight, like sitting on the beach. I made a video like that when I was in Thailand. I was just trapping off my laptop, like answering revals and stuff like that. Yes, that is true. You can do it that way. However, I had a second monitor. Actually, matter of fact, I'm going to grab it and I'm going to show you guys. You get one of these. It's portable. You just freaking connect the little HDMI port, the HDMI cord to the laptop, and it's literally the same size as a laptop. Like, my Mac is right here. This is like maybe a little bit wider than my Mac, and you just connect the HDMI port to it, and then you also want to have a mouse. You can get both of those things for like $30 combined, a mouse and a second monitor for like $30. It's just going to save you so much time when you're not going to have to go between tabs, and you can just have both of them open. You can look at the procurement history, and then you can look at, you know, your CRM, or you can have the procurement history on one page and then the electronic quote submission form on one page, and help you like determine your pricing. You're just going to save so much time not clicking back and forth between windows, and then there's going to be a lot of copying and pasting involved. So just having a mouse where you can just right click after you highlight something, it's just going to be a lot easier, and then you can increase the sensitivity on the mouse, help you get around the screen faster. So there's just a lot of benefits to having a monitor and a mouse. The next thing, number 9, you got to be having checklist, bro. You got to be having checklist. I get it. You're going to have, there's this thing called expectation bias in aviation, where you expect like the same kind of approach, the same kind of departure, the same kind of taxi to the active runway, or, you know, the prevailing winds typically always blow from the same direction, so you're anticipating the same runway, right? And sometimes pilots will forget to use their checklist because they're just like, oh yeah, I got it. I've done this like a million times before. I do this approach all the time. Like, I have a couple hundred hours in my home airport here, and a lot of times I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm coming from this direction. I know they're gonna have me enter the pattern that this way, or I know if I'm shooting this approach, this is gonna be the initial fix that they're gonna vector me to. Sometimes that doesn't happen, and that's why I use the checklist anyways. And you're going to get to a point where you become very, very complacent because you're selling the same products over and over, which is good. That's what we want. And then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, the packaging requirements are the same, the contracting officer is the same. Use the damn checklist, bro. I guarantee you the one time you don't is gonna be the time where you forget something and then you get dinged on it, and then the contracting officer will be like, huh, this is very out of character for Joe. I wonder why Joe did this. Use the checklist. If you want insight on checklists, how to create them, how to implement them, click the link down below, book a call, speak with Sam. And myself. If I'm not flying, guys, I actually have been hopping on a lot more of those calls. So if I'm not flying, I'll be there. But yeah, we give you guys all the checklists that we use at Two Lions Aerospace, and our next boot camp in May, we're going to be revising the checklist. So if you guys want some insight on checklist, how to implement them, what good ones look like, we give you all the ones that we use at Two Lions Aerospace to scale to over 20 million in revenue in under 4 years. So if you want that, click the link down below. And last but not least, what did Drake say? He said, make sure you boys put away some money to pay your taxes because not having enough to pay them is a federal crime. What I mean by that is your ass needs an accounting software. You got to be tracking your purchase orders, your sales orders, your invoicing, all that good stuff. You got to be able to determine what your gross number is, what your net profit is, what your bottom line is. So you need an accounting software. Wave is really good. Wave is a free one. QuickBooks also, they have a free version. Zoho as well, but you need an accounting software. You've got to be tracking that stuff, guys, because the accounting is a bit different when you've won contracts and it's like, okay, I have something that should be getting paid to my accounts receivable, but it has not been received yet. You won a contract in May and you have 120-day lead time on it, and you're not going to ship it until June, and you're going to make $12,000 net profit in it. Yeah, you can count the revenue, but you can't count that. You can't count the cash collected, like the net income, until you shipped it and then the government has paid you. So you need an accounting software to track that, and the accounting with government contracting is a bit nuanced. You still have to follow GAAP, which is the generally accepted accounting principles. I did minor in accounting. You still have to follow that, but you're going to need something to track all that stuff, just because things can get a little bit tricky, especially as you start to get towards the end of the year, and then you have contracts that you won at the beginning of, like, let's say December, but you're not going to get paid on them until like January or February, but you want to count the revenue, but maybe not like the net income. So it really can get kind of messy. So you need to have something to track that, so that way you can give that to your accountant, or if you're good enough to do it yourself, you can do that. But those are my 10 most essential things that you need to win with DLA, and this was the practical version. This was no mindset stuff. This was just straight up, if you've never ran a business before and you were not familiar with the nitty-gritty things that you need to have, this was those things. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to the end of the video. Not only am I looking forward to your success, I'm sure of it. Let's go print those dollars.